so I'd like to introduce to you the manager of the Monrovia office. I'm sure you guys all know, Billy Weander.
Okay, first of all, guys, I don't want to meeting you to death. I know you guys have been sitting around listening and listening and listening. I know we're all anxious to get out there. An idea or thought that continually preoccupies or intrudes a person's mind is a definition of obsession. Second definition, a persistent, disturbing preoccupation with an often unreasonable idea or feeling. We're in Sin City. Any of you guys walked through a casino yet? Any of you guys seen somebody have the fever? Can't stop, gotta play catch up. You know, I gotta win. And this happens. And we talk a lot about obsession in here this week. How many of you really would have an idea, and be honest with yourselves, of what it's like to truly be obsessed with anything? When you're in high school with a girl, your first love, or a guy, you know, for you ladies out there. Stuff like that. A lot of us talk about being obsessed, and we say we're obsessed. I asked you what your obsession was, and we stood up, and you said, and everybody with kids here, my kids, I'm obsessed with giving them a better life. But are you? Is what you have to ask yourself. What does it mean to be truly obsessed, to want to give your kids a better life, or to have progress, or live up to your full potential? There's three different things. There's an interest. I want to buy a car. There's a goal. I want to buy a black Rolls-Royce Ghost with 24-inch rims with black interior. I know they cost $375,000. I need this and this and this and this to get it. And then there's an obsession to where I will spend money on nothing else until I have that. There's a difference there. If you want to become obsessed, if you want to be the best father that you can be in the world, where does the obsession have to start? Why?
You're the only one that can do it.
No? Well, you're correct, but that's not what I'm looking for.
If you don't have yourself, how can you support anybody else?
That's right. My girlfriend asked me, who's the most important person in your life? And I said, me. I am. And the reason why is because if I'm not the most important person in my life, and I don't keep myself fully on top of my game to be the best that I could possibly be, how could I possibly be great for everybody else? Having an obsession for something means that you will stop at nothing until you get what you want, that you will not allow any distractions to come in your way, that you will not make mistakes. You have to take the time to say, whatever I'm doing right this second, is this helping me get my goal? We're in Vegas. How many of you last night wanted to go check out the town a little bit? How many of you last night maybe didn't get to bed quite on time? How many of you yesterday, after you finished your day in the field yesterday, did everything you possibly could to make sure that today would be the greatest possible day that you could execute your performance? With 100% honesty. How many of you made sure that you got enough sleep? That you woke up and had time to eat a breakfast or do something positive for yourself in the morning because you have an obsession for what you need to accomplish today? There's a difference between having an interest and having a goal and having an obsession. An obsession means that you're doing everything that you possibly can do to get to where you need to be, or to acquire whatever you want, or to achieve whatever element you want to get to. Everything that you can do. That nothing else in your life matters at that moment until you achieve what you want, almost to a sick amount. I remember when I was a kid, I liked Hot Wheels for about 2 weeks. And I went to my buddy's house on the corner, and we were playing in the dirt in his front yard. I think I was about 7. And I had like my pockets full of Hot Wheels there. And we started to build a little digging in the ground to build a little fortress for our Hot Wheels cars, right? And we had popsicle sticks that we were using to build this thing with, dig out the dirt and making cool little garages. And it started out about this big on the ground. And over the course of the weekend, me and this kid, his name was Ricky, I'll never forget him, we actually took out a whole side of his house of dirt, grass, flowers. We got in a lot of trouble for this, okay? And we built the most amazing Hot Wheel fortress and track and everything in the world. And we couldn't stop doing it. We woke up early in the morning, and I go to his house, start banging on his door. Can Ricky come out and play? And they had to drag us in for dinner. We didn't want to stop. Can I go back out after dinner? My mom said, what are you so obsessed about? Why do you have to keep going over there? We're just building the biggest Hot Wheel fort in the world. I didn't want to watch Scooby-Doo. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to build that. Just like some of you here. And it didn't matter how much trouble we were going to get into. We didn't care. We wanted to build it. And for what? For nothing. It wasn't going to get us anywhere. It was just a fun activity. Just like when I started in this business, I lived in Chicago for a while, and I moved to Los Angeles. And I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. I just knew I wanted to do something big. That's it. So I wanted to be, I told you guys before that I wanted to be great. But it goes in stages. Your obsession doesn't have to be that big mansion on the hill with a $1 trillion car parked out front. Your obsession can get to that point. But your obsession doesn't start there. Your obsession starts with wherever you're at. And making sure that whatever you're doing today is nothing more than a stepping stone to get to the next thing. My obsession, I just realized from listening and talking to you guys, is what's next. That's where my obsession lies in. Okay, so I went out and I crushed 25 deals in a month by myself, knock until my fingers bleed, trying to get there. But for what? Because I know I have to get to that point so I can take this kid, Matt Cooper, and I can make him the best possible. Because my obsession isn't to make him the best possible, but it's part of the process of me getting to where I want to go. Because if I get to where I want to go, that means that all these lovely people that I enjoy spending so much time with in Monrovia are right there with me. And this is why, and I got to tell you guys, I'll give you an example. Last night, I was in bed as soon as we finished dinner. Went to the room. And I got to tell you, and some of you that know me, I could party more by myself than half of this room. But now's not the time. We're not there yet. We're not there where we want to go. I have to learn how to pick my spots, make the best decisions possible. But when you're obsessed, you don't have to think about these decisions. You'll find that it happens naturally. The first day I went out in the field and closed 2 deals by myself, cold, and got paid, made good money. First time I made $1,000 in one day in the field. I knew that it was possible. And this is where the obsession starts to begin, is within the possibilities and how you grow. For some of us, I honestly believe that if you live a mediocre life, just average, nothing's that great, nothing's that bad, what's going to change in your life to all of a sudden take it to be a top 1% money earner of 390 million people in America? What's going to happen to you? What's going to change within you? Not a lot. For a lot of us, and I know, because I know a lot of the stories in this room, and they're very inspiring, very touching. But I also know that typically you get to a point where it's either going to go down or it's going to go up. And it's going to go up, and you're going to get a little taste. You say, man, I can't believe I did that. Kind of like how we all felt when we got into our first house, right? When you knock on the door, yeah, I am interested. Come on in. Holy crap, what do I do now? Right? Anybody can relate to that? I know I did, right? But I got a little taste. I said, man, this is possible. And I closed the deal. She paid activation. I banked a couple points. I made $660 on my first deal. I was pumped. And then I thought, what's possible? And then the obsession became trying to find out what's possible. The obsession became trying to find out, how good can I get at this? And if I do become good at this, what's my next obsession going to be? Because it's going to change. Your life changes. No, there's nothing, you can't control that. It's the way it works. But your obsession and how it happens, it becomes intruding. It becomes persistent. You can't get it out of your head. It's like falling in love. It's almost the same thing. You can't, there's nothing you could do. You can't stop thinking about it. How many people here have children? Congratulations. Thank you very much. And that's your obsession. It's your obsession. But did you do everything freaking possible in the past 24 hours to make sure that today was going to produce a result to help you with that obsession? Because if you didn't, it's not your obsession. How many people aren't sure? And be honest. You don't even have to raise your hand, but just think about it. How many of you think about, I don't know what I'm obsessed about, to tell you the truth. I know I like this. I'm into that. Cars are cool. But are you obsessed with it? Obsessed is when I hear stories about guys, yeah, I got into this house, man. It was like 10 o'clock at night. Getting into a house at 10 o'clock at night doesn't happen unless there's a small obsession happening within that moment at that time. Let's be honest. It doesn't. But for whatever reason, it pushed you. And you know what the feeling of obsession is like. The true feeling of being obsessed. The first time I made $1,000 a day in one day, that was the last time I used an alarm clock. And some of the guys in my office think I was full of crap. Have you guys heard an alarm clock go off yet? No. And what's the first thing you said yesterday? Holy shit, you really don't use an alarm clock. I don't. Because if the sun comes up, daylight's there, baby. Those are like the lights in the stadium. It's game time. What can I achieve today? And I'm obsessed with maximizing the potential of every single day. But this is where the obsession comes. And you have to learn, and you've all felt obsessed before. You want to know what the true intensity of obsession is? Something very simple that we've all done. Any of you ever gone to a movie, and at the end of the movie, you had to pee really bad? Right? And what happens when you go to the bathroom? There's a line, right? And you start to dance, you know. How's it going, man? How's the movie? It was cool? Oh, God, right? And it gets to the point to where you would almost physically put your hands on another human being to push him out of the way so you can get there. Not thinking of any repercussions. The repercussions don't matter at this point. I got to go to the bathroom. But the obsession comes in when you realize that you always seem to find one. As an adult, I don't think I've ever peed myself. I've always seemed to find a bathroom. The reason why was because for that brief moment in time, there was nothing else in existence. There was nothing else happening on the planet as far as that's concerned. There was nothing else more important ever than for me to find that bathroom. And for that brief moment, whether it was 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I spent that last 15 minutes obsessed with finding a bathroom. And it starts today when you leave here. Are you going to be obsessed about closing that first deal? My phone, only thing my phone's good for in the field is calling in deals. And you'll realize where your head's at and what you're really thinking and how motivated you really are. I love it. I love it when I see a guy in the field, his phone rings, and I'll watch him from down the street, and he'll pull it out. I don't even have my phone on me right now because it doesn't matter. This is the most important thing in my life right this second. So bear with me. And he stops. Oh, hey, man. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm going to do. What are you going to do this weekend? Is that guy obsessed with getting a deal? No? Has anyone ever been guilty of that? I know every hand should go up because we've all done that. Part of understanding your obsession is part of understanding yourself and part of being honest with yourself about what you're going through and what you're doing. Nothing else matters with your obsession. Those of you that have children, if you were standing here and your child was standing on the other side of that glass and something was wrong with him, what would stop you from getting to your child? So what's going to possibly stop you from being successful? What's going to possibly stop you from dominating your own life? That has to be that kind of a feeling. Obsession comes with that kind of intensity. Nothing else matters but what I'm doing. And you got to ask yourself, if you really want to give these great lives to the people around you, and you really think that's your true obsession or potential or making other people great, the first time you do something that is not conducive to achieving that, it is no longer your obsession. And you have to realize that. An obsession is almost like being a drug addict. The only thing they care about is their next high. They will steal from their mothers. They will steal from anybody. And they don't want the money, because the money is just a result of what we do. It's not why we do anything. And you have to understand that. One thing, I got to give drug addicts a lot of respect. They're never broke. They always find a way, don't they? Well, that's on the negative side of life. The positive side of life, which makes obsessions a little trouble sometimes, is because we feel a little selfish sometimes, don't we? Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. Well, if I become the greatest me, me, me I could ever be, I have a lot more to give to you, and so we can be great together. But your obsession, you have to understand what the obsession really is. And sometimes within us, I didn't know what mine was for a while. And you talk about what's your why. Why do you come into work? Why are you here? Why are you working so hard? This is where it comes from. The obsession has to start. And if you're not sure what it is, or if you don't know how quite to obtain it, get obsessed with whatever you're doing at the moment. Get out of the van first. Get into a house right away and become obsessed with it. And then once you understand it's possible, then you open up more possibilities of how great could you be. And now it starts. The obsession starts to form. And more importantly, you start to act accordingly. I said in my last thing in San Jose, I said, how many people want to make a lot of money and how long do you want to wait? The same thing applies to all this stuff you're obsessed about. I don't need $1 million to give my child the greatest life ever. I need to be able to afford a life where I have the time to give to him, because that's what's going to give him the greatest life ever. I'm not going to buy my children. I don't need $1 million for that. But so what I'm going to do is, my obsession to give him the greatest life is to work so hard and achieve so much that I don't have to be so preoccupied with work, that I could spend that quality time with him. And I could build a lifestyle. But your obsession has to be your lifestyle. It has to be that way. It won't change. You guys obsessed with making $1,000 today. What'd you do last night? How obsessed are you really? And you have to ask yourself that question. Because if you can't find it, wheels just spin, no traction. And so when we talk about being obsessed, I would have to believe a bodybuilder like C.T. Fletcher, in order to get a body like some of those guys have, like an Arnold, that's got to be an obsession. 6 hours a day in the gym, every single day. Do you think his wives or his girlfriends or his kids, no, Daddy, stay home, spend some time with me today? You think a guy like Bill Gates, who didn't take one day off in the entire decade of his 20s, did you think that he wasn't obsessed? He was obsessed. Do you think Michael Phelps, who went for 5 years straight without ever taking a day off of training, was he obsessed to win 1 gold medal? No, he wasn't obsessed to win 1 gold medal. Obsession is what leads to immortality. And my definition of it, and I don't care what the dictionary says, the way I think is, if it's good with me, I'm good with myself. I'm going to say, if people that don't know you, know your name after you die, you're immortal. That's what that means. Thomas Edison. Anyone don't know who he is? You think we're ever going to be in a period of time where nobody knows who he is? I doubt it. He's immortal. 10,000 tries. Most of us in this room would have given up after about 20. He went 10,000. And it's the old adage, and they throw comedy in there to tell him, well, he found 10,000 ways that wouldn't work. You think he was obsessed? And look how he affected the world. We're sitting in it right now. You think Steve Jobs ever became obsessed with Apple? He had to be. You can't affect the world without a small bit of obsession there. I can affect these 3 people with the simplest idea. I can affect 5 more people with a good goal. I can affect the world with an obsession. Have to elevate what you're thinking about and how far you really want to go. And it's Christmas time, guys. I don't mean to throw this in your face, but this is the last paycheck we're going to get before Christmas. And that obsession I hear about. I want to give my kids everything. Well, when you're obsessed, I don't have to tell you, then act like it. When you're obsessed, I don't have to tell an obsessed man, make sure you're on time tomorrow, Sean. Fabian, make sure you're wearing good clothes and you're looking good tomorrow. You don't have to say that to people that are obsessed. I don't have to tell people that are obsessed not to lose their attitude in the field. I don't have to tell people who are obsessed, keep knocking. You don't have to do that. So when you talk about obsession, dig deep and find out what your obsession really is and how far you are willing to take that obsession. How many of you in here would like to believe that you're willing to do whatever it takes? If you can look in the mirror every day and say, I did whatever it took. And in this business, come on. It's ADT, the #1 company in the world, and you guys are giving it away for free. There's been burglaries in the neighborhood already. How tough could it possibly be? Imagine what it's like to work in a jewelry store right now. You want to know how you say, get ready for the nose today. When you're prepared, you got to be prepared for the nose. Don't waste any time preparing to hear no today. Did you prepare for the sun to come up? No. It's going to happen every single day no matter what. Just like hearing no. What I'm prepared for is to have my best day ever. Because I'm obsessed with having best days. I'm obsessed with being the best ever. I'm obsessed with my goals. I'm obsessed with what I'm really here for. And that's what's the difference between an interest, a goal, and an obsession. And I got to tell you, obsession is what creates overwhelming greatness. Think Kobe Bryant was ever obsessed with basketball? I know he was because you all know his name. You know, and that's what it comes down to, is how great do you want to be? You want to be successful, set some goals and hit them. You want to be great? You want to give these great lives to the people that you love more than anything in the world? Become obsessed with doing everything you got to do that. And it comes naturally. You don't have to force this. You do not have to force it. Brandon obviously has a mad passion, obsession for creating great success, not only for himself, for the people around him. You're all sitting in it, and I'm wearing it. There's no doubt about it. We couldn't have this company where it is today unless there was some people involved that had some type of obsession. This is hard. This is difficult. Because as soon as you master the sales, now I have to master you. And then I have to master the group. And it's difficult. But your obsession is what keeps you going. Your obsession is what gets you through the slumps. Your obsession is what creates retention in your office. Your obsession is what gets contagious. Because you want to be great in this business, you got to develop an obsession for success. You have to develop an obsession for winning. because that's contagious to the people around you. And that's what happens with an obsession. It's a ridiculous thought. It's unreasonable. You can't get it out of your mind. Kind of like being hungry. You can't do that. And there's a difference. Sometimes we got to look real deep within us to find this, but this is why we do this. It gives you ideas. How many of you learned a little bit so far? Jeff, what'd you learn?
Keep going.
Damn right you keep going. We don't have a choice. Life's going to keep going, guys. Life requires action. I want to give you a brief little analogy, and then I'm going to let you guys go. If I sat here in David's office for a week, just sat here, didn't get up, didn't go out in the field, didn't do nothing, I just sat here. And what would you see? See David coming in like that spark that he is. See people talking about getting deals. I'd see people talking about what they're going to do this weekend. I'd see people arguing, people laughing, all this other stuff. But I'd see people living. What's going to happen if I just sit here? You can say nothing, but the truth is my life is going to get worse because life requires action. It requires it. You can't live with it. Because if you're not moving, if you're not creating something, if you're not doing something, your life will get worse or turn bad. And then all of a sudden, somebody comes in and they go, oh man, we're going to go do such and such this weekend. And I finally get inspired. So I say, hey, I want to do that with you guys. And you're like, hey, no problem, Billy, man. The ticket's $100, dude. Just meet us over there at 7 and we'll get there. Oh, but I don't have the 100. Oh, man. Well, see if you can get it. If you can, meet me there. Oh, man, why won't you help me out? Come on, man. Man, that's just it. Finally, when I want to participate, nobody wants to be there to help me. That's not how it works. Action, obsession, pulling through. Be very unrealistic with your goals. You have to understand, getting into a black shirt for a lot of us is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done in your life. And I mean that to an obscene amount. There's top 1% in the nation money earners in this company. That means that 99% of everybody else, we had to work harder, be more, do more, act more, everything more in order to get to that spot. And if you're really obsessed about getting there, your actions will show. But your obsession is what's going to get you there. You have to decide and open up the possibility in your mind that you can achieve that greatness. Just like Les Brown says, and we all know who he is, there's greatness within you. You have to unlock that and chase after it with ferocious tenacity. And this is where you will achieve that obsession. And from there, everything you've ever wanted will come to fruition. But think about how obsessed you really are and how much you're really doing everything you possibly can to get what you want. We don't have a lot of time, guys. And I mean that in every variable you could think of. Today, this week, time we can spend together in life. Don't waste any time. Don't waste any time. If you want to give your child to go to private school, give them the best possible things, stop waiting. There's nothing else more important. If you want to upgrade your image, stop waiting for something to happen. Because if you're not doing everything you can do to do it, then you're not obsessed with that. Look for something else. But it's out there. And it doesn't have to be the end result. You can just get obsessed with something just for today. Because you focus on that mind, you concentrate on that and nothing else, and you get it and you go till you get it. Do you guys understand where I'm coming from here? Do you guys understand what it's like to really, truly be obsessed with something? It's not an interest. It's not a goal. I heard Shannon say that she was obsessed with going to medical school. Very admirable. Extremely admirable. And it's kind of cool that you're going to be able to do that by helping others right now just as much as you're going to help others later. And I can see from the numbers, she probably is. I kind of believe it. Some people I saw in a casino last night at 1 in the morning, and they tell me how obsessed they are. I don't believe you. You got 2 more days. What did you come here to accomplish? What did you come here to do? How much money do you want to have to buy those gifts for baby boy and girl when we get home? What kind of a Christmas do you want to have? What kind of a year do you want next year? Let that resonate in your head. Develop that obsession and go get it today. Fair enough? You guys ready to play? You guys really ready to play? You guys want to make some money?